I think knowing that was going to happen, Matt, I just wonder what was the point. Like, who thought of that ahead of time and thought that was a good idea? I do not know. Really stupid. And why Baron Corbin? I mean, I hope they don't do too much with him. And is he going to come in and just beat the whole lot of them up and make them look even worse? I don't know. Probably the way everything's going. But yeah, I just think it did not pull off well for me. I was not a fan of this whatsoever, and I was enjoying the match up until that point to a small degree. But I felt the crowd even was out of it. I don't know what you thought, Matt, but the crowd seemed so. What is this? Like, they didn't even seem bothered, to be honest with you. So really kind of poor. And unfortunately for them, I'm not gonna go below a 2. I'm gonna give them 2.5 because I don't blame either one of those guys. It's just terrible. Whoever produced that just totally got it wrong. The booking of it and everything. It was a complete waste of time. But 2.5 for me. Matt, what's your sample for that one?
It's a 2 from me. It took something that was an incredibly important kind of event and then actually really belittled it, didn't it, really? Mm-hmm. So even the section that comes after this with Daniel Bryan.
God dear, yeah. That is setting up Daniel Bryan and Baron Corbin to square off, isn't it, really? That's going to come on SmackDown. I think you can tell where that's happening. Not great stuff. Okay, well then we go, Matt, to the sort of Survivor Series men's match, which was Team Raw led by Kevin Owens, the Universal Champion, against SmackDown Live, as they like to now call them. Just to make sure everybody knows that they're live, they stick that on the end, just like it was Friday Night SmackDown, just in case you miss what day it is at once upon a time. I really don't like the idea that they keep putting live on the end of it. It's like, come on, I don't think we need Raw live. So what's the difference? So AJ Styles obviously leading Team SmackDown on, and of course it's featured a lot of different characters, Matt, and from all kinds, all over the show, both heels and faces. And I think this was going to be the messiest. What's that, mate?
It was mayhem, that match.
It was mayhem. Yeah, there was a lot to keep up with on this one. Where you go, I liked the idea that both champions started off against each other. I liked that a lot. I think that was a good thing. But you had the guys from the Shield, the guys from the Wyatts. It was all in there, wasn't it? The match itself, Matt, was this as what we was expecting? And first of all, I want to call this one straight out, Matt. Shane McMahon. Are they going to rethink him in future endeavours now because of what happened here? Because that didn't look good. And how on earth he was getting some of those shots in and looking that good, I do not know. But go ahead.
I was more worried about when Jericho did the lion salt and then Shane put his knees up and then did nothing, and then Jericho was like, "Package me." I actually heard him say it.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, I'll have to go back on that one. That's incredible, isn't it? What a joke. Yeah, I mean, from the get-go, I did not enjoy that Shane McMahon was in this. In fact, quite frankly, I would have preferred James Ellsworth to be in this over him, quite frankly. I just don't like the fact that a non-wrestler... I know Shane has wrestled The Undertaker. I can't believe I have to say that at WrestleMania in Hell in a freaking Cell. But there's only so much of this I can take. And the fact that he put himself in this, with all these wrestlers, and you've got guys that are sitting on the sidelines doing nothing, is beyond a joke, really, because this is a time where you can afford to have some of the lesser wrestlers involved in this, because you've got the spotlight on so much here. So why there's so many places, why they're not giving them up, I do not understand it for the life of me. But the match itself, Matt, what did you think of it? This one for me was it was harder to follow. It was quite a cluster going on. I mean, I liked it, but I think overall I probably preferred the tag team one up against this. But what did you think? And going through, and of course through the match there was some altercations. I mean, man, I felt Braun Strowman was throwing people around like a long dart, wasn't he? I mean, some of that stuff looked dangerous. I mean, AJ Styles especially when he landed. that didn't look good. What did you think about that? I mean, Braun Strowman, I thought, oh, are they going to give him the Nia Jax treatment in this? They pretty much did that for a while, didn't they? He seemed to get quite a bit off on this one.
Yeah, I think this wasn't just like thrown together. This was clearly thought out long and hard. Like people were just hashing this out, getting everything right. And I'm glad you brought up the Shane McMahon thing out of the way there, because that's good to actually mention there. I think all of those spots that he did, they should have been done by someone else. That whole thing through the announcer table, it's kind of his thing, but Dean Ambrose does a perfectly decent elbow off the top rope. You know, that would have been fine if he'd done that. But yeah, so I did like it. It did have that kind of big match feel. I did get that feeling from it, and you definitely called it about the whole kind of Shield kind of stuff that we would get in there, teased in front of us, and then would actually form. Kind of another kind of mystery about how security guards are so incredibly wimpy, though, that one sort of push or punch will lay them out. Another kind of mystery to be solved. But yeah, I did kind of like the Shield reunion. I know it's kind of cheesy, but I never wanted them to break up anyway, so it's always good to see that at some point we might get that again.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I didn't see the ending coming at all. I did not see the direction they were going. I mean, I know I said before that I thought it would come down to Seth and Roman, but I did not see the direction they were going to take. Yeah,
Seth Rollins, as a side note, man, what did you make of him in this match? Because do you think he got enough in on this one?
I thought it was pretty good. I felt like Roman didn't have much impact until the end, and man, I've got to feel sorry for the guy now. I mean, I know a lot of people don't, but I've got to say everything he did in that match, he couldn't get it right. If he got in the match, he was getting booed enormously. If he tagged out or got knocked to the floor, he was out on that floor for about 90 seconds before people started saying Roman's sleeping, you know? I mean, when we saw it, he was out there for a hell of a lot longer than 90 seconds before that came along.
Yeah, Roman's snoozing there, is it? Roman's taking a nap. It's gone to that direction, hasn't it? Yeah, he got the most heat of the night, I would imagine, I think, as far as when he came out. Boy, that crowd was on his back. You know, I mean, I'm going to get to it later, actually, but I feel that guy, unless they really come up, I mean, we say this we probably say this every single pay-per-view when Roman Reigns is on it. Please change him heel. But I mean, honestly, it's getting old and repetitive, even though I'm getting fed up with saying it, quite frankly. But they've got to do that now. Stop messing about and just get on with it, because it's doing no good whatsoever. I can't imagine he's enjoying it either.
I get the feeling that the crowd don't even know what they want, because they were calling Ambrose a stupid idiot when he was beating up AJ, and they were booing Roman Reigns. But when all three of them came together as a Shield to do their triple powerbomb, they loved it. Yeah,
well, I think there was always going to be that connection with Jericho and Owens being the Canadian stuff. I got that, but and I knew Jericho would be very much over in this, but. Yeah, like you say, it was mixed, but by far Roman Reigns definitely got a very heated reception, without foul. And yeah, there were some spots. I mean, obviously James Ellsworth and Braun, you know, poor him. I think doing the job of selling as usual for him. God knows where that leaves him in the future. I mean, I've got a feeling, Matt, that he might be off TV now, and we might see him back in the Rumble or something. He might be I can see him coming out as a surprised entrant, Matt. I don't know what you think about that, but
that's a good call, actually. Yeah, because you know, after that kind of shot he took from Braun, you wouldn't expect to see him on SmackDown afterwards. He does look quite fragile, but yeah, good call for the Royal Rumble. That would be a good one.
Well, from what I'm reading, James Ellsworth, like I said last time on the preview, when someone said he deserves a contract, and from what I understand, I think he has got a contract. With WWE, but from what I'm reading, they're going to put him in the developmental place for a while to brush up on more skills, and then they might put him on TV after that. So this might be his way out of that on screen, and I'm guessing the Royal Rumble would be a decent spot. I'm sure he'll get a big pop if he comes out in that, without a doubt. It'll be interesting to see what sort of stuff they give him. So obviously in the end, Matt, I think the only sort of really nice positive of the night here for me was that the Wyatt, something come together right here for him, didn't it? I mean, how long have we waited for this? But then, last year I remember they went in against the Undertaker and Kane, and I thought that might be a moment, but it never happened. But here it happened, and it was that image. What did you think about the sum up and SmackDown? Obviously, getting it throws my fantasy booking out the window, I guess, for the Undertaker having reason to have too much of a go to AJ Styles, but nonetheless, Team SmackDown winning. What did you think about that? And was it a little bit too WWE the norm, like when we see bragging rights and Survivor Series the years gone by when they had brand splits, they'd always go to SmackDown, wouldn't they, on these ones?
Yeah, it does. It does still feel like they are concerned about SmackDown. They're like, hey, I know you're watching Raw, but, SmackDown, look, they got good guys. They can beat Raw. Even though, if you took the night as a whole, SmackDown still got a bit of a whooping. They did. They kind of lost 2-1 there, actually. So, it definitely still looks like they're trying to promote SmackDown heavily. I don't really think they need to. I think SmackDown has been consistently better than Raw for a lot of the time anyway, over the last couple of months.
Yeah. Well, that match, I mean, it was a lengthy match, Matt. 53 minutes, 30 seconds. I mean, it was a very lengthy Survivor Series match. But then again, with that many people, the main event guys in it, I suppose that's to be expected. Matt, what's your official sort of sum up of that one and rankings for it? And just a side note on Bray Wyatt going forward here, is this finally the moment, I guess?
I gotta say, I don't really think this is Bray's moment. That although they got the win, it was still 3-on-2. They still couldn't pull it off on equal terms. There was no reason for Luke to get involved in this. I mean, I know it's their thing and it's what they do, but it just makes them look weaker. Randy and Bray are strong individuals. They should be compared just as equally as strong as Seth and Roman are. But they couldn't allow it to go down that way. They had to make it a 3-on-2, which it was kind of a shame when it damaged them in the end.
Yeah.
And they made a huge deal about Randy sacrificing himself, or whatever. But I just thought, how's that a big deal? I thought, because it's the only sensible thing to do. Randy's not legal. He's not going to get pinned if he gets speared. He's got half a brain. He knew that.
Yeah. What match rating do you give that one, Matt? It's quite hard to give, but
4 stars because it was good, and I was almost going to give it a 5. I mean, not 5, I mean a 4.5. But I just felt like something was missing. It just looked like they tried too hard a little bit at times.
Yeah, I mean, Survivor Series matches, like I said before, they're hard to pull off at times, but this was good. I mean, there was a lot of shenanigans going on. But I did write down this would have got 4. There was just something missing, so I've given this a 3.5, which might seem a little bit unfair considering it was almost an hour long part. But I tell you, the underlying thing was that finally Bray Wyatt pulls something off, where albeit it's with 3 of them. But Matt, another side issue with this, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. I don't know about you, but I don't know if that's just. Have they just stuck these together? It seems like something they do in a video game. I really don't buy this business of Randy. Like the character of Randy Orton, honestly, it gets more and more bizarre. I just feel this guy is going to end up retiring, and we're all going to look back and go, "What was Randy Orton's legacy after all this? Like, what was he? Was his era? What did he achieve? Like, he got this amazing talent, but." I don't know. I don't like this side of it. I think this is just. I don't know. I really don't buy any of this stuff, and I think he's way too made his mark to be in this kind of a storyline under Bray. I just think it's too much. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it is a bit of a conflict because arguably Randy is the stronger character in their group, and he is like a follower now, but it's totally against everything we've seen throughout Randy's career. He's never really been a follower. He was the first out of Evolution. He led his own team legacy, didn't he? And he never. He's always said he never plays well with others. And all of a sudden, just turn your back on that. I'm a complete gullible sheep now. I'll follow you wherever you want me to go. And even when people say one-on-one, like they did when they had the the sort of face to face with Raw team versus SmackDown, and they got up in Randy